The Prisoner. The Source Soul True Condition, revealed in 17 episodes. This made-for-TV series first aired in 1967. It was created by Patrick McGoohan and George Markstein, with McGoohan playing the lead role. The plot centers around a man who resigned from his secret agent job, and as he tries to leave to go on vacation, he is gassed in his own home and passes out. When he awakes, he is no longer in London, but in a place only known as the Village. Everyone has a number assigned to them, and he is given the number 6. The only reason given for his capture is that his captors want to know why he resigned from his post. The entire series is about the prisoner's resistance and relentless desire to return home. My analysis aims to shed light on this incredible allegorical TV series, which reveals many truths about the source soul condition. Word association. The words information and resigned are repeated in the intro to the series. These carry double entendres, specifically to convey hidden truths. Information can be interpreted as in formation, meaning that the prisoner needs to follow the pack, obey, and do as he is told. As in the army, soldiers are not to ask questions, but should simply follow orders. The word resigned can be broken down into re-signed, as in to re-sign a contract. This is cleverly alluding to the real question, which is why has a source soul allowed himself to be fooled to living within the matrix reality and accept false reincarnation cycles. So the real question could be, why did you re-sign the contract to relive within this matrix? The Afterlife. The opening introduction to the series clearly states that the entire story of the prisoner takes place within his fake afterlife. The prisoner is clearly shown wearing black before his captivity and walking through a long, dark tunnel. He is shown engaged in a car chase by which he is pursued by a hearse and the man in black who wears a top hat. This man represents the Grim Reaper, who brings death to him by spraying him with a noxious gas, causing him to fall into a deep sleep. When he awakens within the village, he is given a life review by number 2, his master handler for that episode. This master projects onto a large screen images of number 6's upbringing and life. This afterlife is a fake one because the prisoner remains focused on returning to his old life and therefore naturally dead, and the people around him are not authentic and have devised an elaborate surveillance network designed to monitor and entrap him in all types of schemes. Surveillance and Conspirators. This series may have been one of the first to show how source souls are spied on regularly. Cameras are placed virtually everywhere within the prisoner's matrix reality, including in his own private residence, to monitor all his actions and track his behavior. These cameras have a control station by which key masters scrutinize, scheme, and enjoy the show. These key masters and scientists can intervene in the prisoner's life anytime by manipulating his environment, such as controlling elements of the weather or by introducing new players. New people are like guest stars who come in with a specific mission. These players act out certain roles to trigger the prisoner to behave in predictable ways. These beings present themselves as genuine and authentic and can shed false tears. Their mission always seems to involve creating some type of havoc in the prisoner's life. In the second episode, the prisoner becomes so suspicious that he publicly states, quote, "I intend to discover who are the prisoners and who are the wardens," end quote. Drugged and hypnotized. The prisoner was regularly drugged by the people he interacted with and who presented themselves as friends and trustworthy allies. They drugged him with alcohol, tea, and even tap water. They did this to affect the prisoner's temperament, making him more docile and accepting of their manipulations. For example, he was drugged to adhere to a fake election and to run for office. He was also regularly hypnotized in his sleep, by which a strobe light hovered over him. Other hypnotic lights which resembled moonlight, also served to cast a hypnotic trance on him, sometimes regressing him into infantilism. Other times they used technological devices to manipulate his mind and force him to be truthful. All these methods never seemed to have the obvious effect, which was to have the prisoner tell them why he quit his job. This is because their real aim was not to have this question answered, but rather to hold the prisoner for an indefinite amount of time to harvest his energy. Energy harvest. The truth about why number 6 is a prisoner is exposed in allegorical plain sight. The answer to the question, why am I a prisoner, can be answered simply as, for your blood. In my opinion, no other TV show or movie depicts this more clearly, though this analysis will probably surprise many people. Here is my evidence. Lava lamps and blood symbolism. In the first episode, when number 6 meets his master, number 2, he is shown standing next to a unique lava lamp by which blood is symbolized. The prisoner is dressed in black, reflective of his dead-like condition. This lava lamp was only shown in this episode, representing a blood vial by which red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma are separated from the blood. In subsequent episodes, other lava lamps are shown, which symbolize the flow of red blood. However, more saliently, the controllers have projected onto large screens as backdrops the flow of blood. This is clearly alluding to the prisoner's true purpose, that he is being used for his blood. If anyone thinks this was simply done for stylized effect, then they are fooling themselves, as the big white menacing ball, which is the threat to the village citizens, is clearly reflective of a white blood cell, the body's defense system. That is why the ball attacks foreign invaders who threaten the prisoner but never harm him. These balls are symbolic of his immune system constantly being attacked, by which these cells are produced to help him fight off invaders. The word cell does not only refer to a blood cell, but to a prisoner's cell. Patrick McGoohan was someone in the know, and that is why he created this series with its clever symbology. Blood extraction symbolism is also used, by which 2 fingers pointing upward by the masters indicates that a transfusion is being conducted. This finger symbolism is apparent in the image of the Masonic Baphomet and in many religious depictions of Jesus and other saints, indicative of blood sacrifice. In the prisoner, it is done by the master facing his blood sacrifice. When done by the victim, it is indicating his condition. Other blood-related symbols appear throughout the series, by which cortisol and other hormones are symbolized through their various blood fluids within the moving backdrops, sometimes looking like stars within a night sky, other times showing white blood cells attacking an outside invader. This is also reflective of the fight scenes, by which people acting as bullies approach the prisoner for the clear purpose of engaging him in a fight. This is the only way to have cortisol and endorphins released into the bloodstream, by putting the prisoner in a fight or flight response condition, by which his body is triggered to produce these vital hormones. This is clear in a frantic scene by which the prisoner inadvertently enters a cave room, by which he finds 4 people sitting around a large white ball, clearly depicting how his blood, and specifically his white blood cells, are being used to help others build their own immune systems. Another important symbol of blood usage is the lighting effects they use to highlight the prisoner's face. At times, the prisoner's face looks bloodshot or purplish. It seems abnormally different from those around him, showing that he is in a different physical condition. Green lighting and green fluid backdrops indicate another type of bodily resource taken from the bodies of source souls, and that is CSF, cerebral spinal fluid. The color of their phones also tells what type of body resource they are aiming for in that scene. The phones come in 3 colors, red, yellow, and teal, symbolic of the 2 dominant parts of the blood and the CSF. Most often, the red and yellow phone is used, and the teal seldomly, as CSF is extracted without impacting the body in any significant way. Their computer buttons also correspond with the blood fluids. The clothing worn by the guests usually indicate what they are after, usually something related to blood. The black globe, often shown within the control station, is often juxtaposed against the backdrop of the white balls, indicative of its opposition, the enemy, by which it attacks the body's immune system. Torture and identity confusion and dream manipulations. The prisoner is often tortured. Sometimes he is aware of it, sometimes he is not. He simply wakes up feeling a bit bewildered, but refreshed. Scientists are allowed to experiment on him and torment him in any way they choose, sometimes taking him to the brink of his demise. Their only prohibition is not to cause any permanent damage, illustrated by such statements as, "Don't harm the tissues," and "We don't wish to damage you permanently." On one level, they let him know that they are harming him, openly seeking his consent. His life events aim to justify the ailments and pains he experiences, as his aches and fatigue need to be justified in some way. Also, the triggering of cortisol release in his body needs to be reasonably explained as well, as this is why he is engaged in many conflicts. Another technique they use, often involving torture, serves to befuddle the prisoner's sense of identity. Initially, he rejected being called a number, yet in one episode, his masters get him to impersonate someone who looks like him, calling him now number 12. This had the effect of him meeting his look-alike, or doppelganger, and having the effect of him not only claiming a number as a name, but struggle to prove that he was indeed number 6. In another episode, he was induced through an invasive procedure to become conscious within another man's body. That was the only episode Patrick McGoohan was barely visible, as his character was played by someone else. Though he was a free man, able to navigate the supposed real world, he was in another man's body, therefore still a prisoner. In the end, he struggled to return to the village and to his real body. These strategies cleverly served to create identity chaos and confusions, by which the prisoner was kept playing the Matrix game. Additionally, these masters revealed how they could affect the prisoner's dream world by combining drugs and technology. In one episode, they injected the prisoner with a drug to cause him to fall into a deep sleep, and then downloaded character profiles from discs onto the prisoner's mind. They even showed how they could manipulate the prisoner's dream by dictating a dialogue to one of its characters. Significance of final episode. The final episode seems chaotic and much can be said about it. However, I will highlight what I deem to be the most salient truths. The masked people represent the different characters who interacted with the prisoner throughout the series. They wear masks to indicate that they were only acting their parts and not showing their true identities. The trial was a mock trial, stating that there is no real justice for the prisoner. The judges are masters and are playing a game. The young man with the top hat is brought in to exemplify a true source soul, a true prisoner, as Patrick McGoohan is not a real source soul in real life, but a master. This character reveals the prisoner's true condition, someone who is somewhat schizophrenic, incoherent, delirious, fatigued, wearing a black top hat indicative of being dead-like. He rings a cowbell, signifying how he, similar to cows, has been milked for his bodily resources. This is why he repeatedly sings the song Bones, as blood is created within the marrow of the bones. This is also the reason why he is shown in a glass chamber or pod next to a master who mocks him by laughing hysterically. In this final episode, they also reveal how their industry is highly guarded and extends beyond what the series normally portrayed. Along with its above-ground control stations, there are caverns and tunnels where most of the work is done and control is held. Conclusion. In the end, it can be interpreted that the four characters return to a new life, a new reincarnation cycle. The young man and the small man, who represent real source souls due to their real life names, are returned to their pseudo homeland along with number 6. This is not their true homeland, as their master still exists within it. Yet they are not dead, as the Grim Reaper passes by them in a hearse without claiming them. The small man stays as a servant, meaning he remains within the Matrix reality through reincarnation. The young man aims to find his way home as he hitchhikes out of there. Their homeland is alluded to within the ancient and majestic architecture of London. Number 6 becomes a free man, a liberated prisoner. He represents the source soul's plight, to be freed and to be returned to their true homeland. The master, number 2, wanders the streets looking for new prey.